What's good, YouTube? Today I'm going to go ahead and do our top 10 for the March format. It just hit me that I haven't actually done this video yet. Usually I do the videos before the month begins, and actually I'm pretty glad I did it because a lot of things have shaken up mid-month. So let's go ahead and get into it with our first honorable mention here. Yang Zings. We've seen several Yang Zing variant tops, more so Ding Long Turbo than anything, but I think the deck overall itself is pretty good. It definitely counters aspects of Zoo, but I also think that if they kind of go back to Viper control, that the deck, faces challenges. And similarly, this deck kind of dies to Viper control, and that's Cosmo. This is Cos Morning, and kind of morning that the deck is out of my top 10. The deck overall, I think, is pretty good still. I think it's still viable. I think you could still top a YCS with it. But the bricks are so real. I've tried playing this. It's fun. It's definitely fun. I've taken games off of Zoo with it. I would say everything in this top 10 and honorable mentions can beat Zoo or, coexist with it. But at the same time, throughout a long tournament, it just seems like Cosmos can't keep up. And this Magispectors used to be one of the most consistent decks. It used to be so good. And even with the release of Wind Witches, we're just not seeing it make the top cut with Zoo out. We've seen it happen once with Zoo out, but not at all throughout March, and I don't think we will through the end of March. Prove me wrong, guys, if you're a Magispector duelist and you're excited to see this deck do well. I just think the small little monsters are too easily cleared off the board, especially with so many Kaiju Zoo variants in the format. But with that being said, let's go ahead and go into our top 10. And my first deck for the top 10 is a kind of foresight call. Blue Eyes is definitely getting a huge boost from the Eidolons, and I think we will see it crack into one of the top cuts of either the UDS or YCS Prague or the South American YCS, all happening on the 18th. This tournament is coming, like all these tournaments are coming up all together, and I think we'll see it crack into one of the top cuts. Again, I could be wrong. This is pure speculation, but I think the Blue Eyes deck is still very strong. I think that despite Kaijus, it has a lot of pressure to offer, especially with Return of the Dragon Lords. And I think it has a good secondary game since Zoo, doesn't have the biggest of pushes unless they're doing the Kaiju OTK in a sense. So Kaiba's deck taking number 10 and also taking number 9 in my opinion. ABC's, alright, this is a hard one. I really didn't want to put this in my top 10, but I feel like the deck has to be there because A, it has multiple regional tops within Zoo format. B, I feel like it just coexists in a way that can actually be consistent enough to top. I feel like it can do it. I feel like it can crack one of these three YCSs and not just regionals if people take it to the events. And the deck itself, of course, is used to dealing with Kaijus. You can avoid Kaijus by tagging out, and you somewhat avoid Slumber a little bit by having an extra monster, but I think the deck coexists well within the format. It just doesn't have the oomph that it used to because whereas you need Hanger Thrasher, Hanger Gadget, Hanger something, in Zoo you just need Molmarat, Barrage, Terror Top, etc. There's so many more starters than the Hanger plus one. And all you need in a sense of Zodiac is the Hanger by getting to a Molmarat. Oh man, ABC, you fell off a little, but you're still here in the top 10. The next deck that I would have in the number 8 position is Mermail Atlanteans. Still able to go with huge OTK pushes. Definitely going to be amazing in Link format, but still floating around here. But seriously, I think the deck has good control elements still, but we're seeing it not really pierce that top cut as much. We see it here and there in a regional, but it's definitely got its consistency issues with dealing with Trident on board already. When you reveal in special, you're still getting the pop. And Ghost Ogre actually kind of naturally checks this deck. It really hurts Megalo, and with Ghost Ogre and Maxi being so rampant in this format, I think those factors have actually shut it down more as a deck than any other factor. But I still think it's up here at number 8, which feels really low for the deck, right, guys? Like, it does feel low. And you might even give me more criticism for putting this next deck up. But Chain Burn in number 7. Oh, shoutouts to Moons Gaming. Chain Burn has definitely earned its spot among my top 10. It's topped so many regionals. It's almost topped YCS. It day 2'd Atlanta. It's definitely a good deck against Zoo, and I feel like its bad matchup in the format is that Infernoids for that back row wipe / negation aspect. Like, I think if Infernoids did not kind of exist, this would be way up higher, but it's checked all the way back down to number 7 thanks to the Infernoid decks. Seriously, without Infernoids, I think this would be really, really rampant. It's so good, it's so consistent, and I really can't think of another deck that just, like, is so rampant in our meta, yet doesn't get side decked for. And the next deck is Minerva Sworn. So, last top 10, somebody asked, why don't you just call it Lightsworn? I mean, it just uses Minerva, it's Lightsworn. Well, the thing is, a lot of people can't afford the $900 prize card, and most people aren't topping YCSs without Minerva. In fact, I don't think we've seen a Lightsworn build top a YCS without Minerva since Minerva came out. And she's just a huge utility for any kind of deck that's using the Lightsworn with Grass and, you know, the rank 4 turbo that does use Minerva. So I definitely think she earns her spot here, having topped, you know, another YCS. And it's just one of the best rank 4 spam options that exist. Better than ABC, in my opinion, and the current format. It's always a contender somehow, Minerva Sworn. It just always seems to force and shove its way into a format and into the top cut. And you just can't discount it because a lot of players don't have it. It's still there, and it's still topping. Definitely an amazing deck, and I enjoy playing with it, you know, on online, because I can't afford her. I got to borrow her for a UDS once upon a time. And number 5, Infernoids, falling all the way from grace from my number 2 position, and here's why. Its consistency issues are just so harsh on itself that throughout a tournament, it ends up losing to itself. And despite having so many good starter cards and so many ways to get to Grass, relying on Grass is not the way you want to win. And even though it's been my roommate's deck of choice, I have to say that Infernoid and Infernoid Zoo, the variants, they just lack a bit of consistency that we've been seeing with other decks. Man, it's definitely rough. Like, the deck is so good, the cards are so powerful, but they definitely lack a lot of consistency, which is what number 4 offers in Paleozoics. Paleozoics surprised everybody. I had it at number 5 on my last one, and I knew it could do something, but I did not expect it to take a W already. And against Zoo, Corey Roca took YCS Atlanta using Paleozoics. And the deck just has so many control options with Toads despite the Kaijus, and the ability to resource the graveyard and fight back. Zoo really has a bad time with back rows, but I think as this just happened, I think we'll A, see more Paleozoics in our format moving forward, and B, we'll see a lot more side decking for them, which is very important. A lot of side decks were dedicated to Infernoids, and I think that'll slip back a bit and go out towards Paleo, as a lot of people, I know a lot of pros are actually picking this up. So we'll see at the upcoming events how prevalent it is. But in the number 3 position is the new Invoked, and all the variants for that. Actually, I thought Zoo Invoked would be best, but the most results have been coming in from Invoked Wind Witch. And I was kind of going against the grain, thinking that, you know, it has to be great with Zoo, but Wind Witch just seems to have the best natural synergy with this deck. It's really good. It's so consistent, and I really like watching it go. Now, at the same time, board wipes really hurt, even with that Crystal Wing. Thanks to Kaijus, like, board wipes still really hurt. People have started putting the Utopia package back into their Zoo decks as a kind of natural hard counter to it, and the results are just that, like, Zoo seems to out-resource it a lot of the time, yet the Artifact Engine is so good with this deck comparatively to any other deck that I think it has a really good chance to come in and steal one of these 3 events happening on the 18th. So in our number 2 position is Metal Foes, and a lot of people did not see this one coming in terms of being power crept by just one card early because BaoBaboon's getting released March 17th, coming early, and March 18th we have those 3 big events, so it should be legal for all of them, and it is just insane how much this enables the deck. If you're questioning what it does for the deck, basically, first off, when it's normal or special summon, you can draw a card, then place a card from your hand on top and bottom of the deck. So basically it allows you to re-even out all your Metal Foe cards, re-even out your bad hands, search for, basically get a chance at scales, and then if it is destroyed by battle or card effect, period, you can special summon any number of BaoBaboons from your deck. So that means you not only get to sort out your hand 2 more times if you wish. Oh man, it's so good. You get to overlay it for Invoker, go Moldmarat, and do your combo. Also, you get to put your Moldmarats back if you drew them. It is so insane. The power creep from 1 card, I look forward to it so much. It's gonna be the nut. I can't imagine how much of a better deck Metal Foes is going to be other than watching it do its thing in the upcoming events. And we'll see how many people go with it too, though. A lot of people maybe didn't have practice, weren't prepared, and maybe are going to stick to their Zoo variants, which comes to be our number 1. Zodiac's still number 1. Kaiju variants, the regular variant, you know, it's as a deck. We're not talking about engines, we're talking about as a deck here. Zoo is still, unfortunately, the best deck of the format in terms of what's going to top, what's going to be represented, what's likely to win. Zoo, 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 Zoo. But, again, it's the deck to beat. It doesn't mean it's the deck that will win. I don't think I need to explain Zoo any more to you guys, though. It is... Oh, man. Just, it breaks the Xyz mechanic. Overlay, 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 overlay. Ugh. Zoo! Zoo! But it is what it is. It'll be in a lot of decks, but as an engine, perhaps more so in some decks than the deck itself. So what do you guys think of my top 10 here? Do you think Metal Foes will have as big of an impact as I thought? Do you think Infernoids have fallen from grace as much as I think? What do you guys think, and what's missing? I know BA has been represented in 2 YCSs, but I actually kind of left it out here. Probably should have been in honorable mentions over Magispectors. And to be honest, I didn't think about it till I started filming this video. But we'll honorable mention BA here just for safekeeping. But do you think it should pierce the top 10 over ABC or Blue Eyes? Do you think we'll continue to see it top and creep in? Or do you think that it's had its final days here going into these 3 events? Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the discussion. And let me know in the comment section below what you think.